You're... Pardon
me. Good start.
You're watching Suck Professor. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. I'm joined by...
James.
James! Hey, James! We're back! The boys are back in town. Cue the music. Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Suck Professor here. It's been a little while for me. I haven't recorded in like 7 weeks. 6 weeks?
Yeah.
It's been forever. I've been busy. We got a Stranger Things 2 review coming real soon, so if you're here for that, but first I got some bullshit to talk about, which is myself. I just want to thank all of our viewers and listeners for being patient while the channel was dead. What happened was I got a big job. I got a whole bunch of work thrown at me, and I had to do it. It was a big opportunity. It's an animation thing. It's going to be released on TBS, which is kind of fun. Not the channel. Now I'm screwing it all. It's going to be TBS Digital, which is online only, so it's not going to be. But it's legit in that way. You know, it's not just like I got real eager to animate me and James having an adventure.
Right, but it's not us. It's not your character. It's something completely different.
No, something totally different.
But you probably can't talk about
somebody
it.
Somebody hired me to work on her cartoon.
There's got to be like a non-disclosure agreement or something, right?
I never signed shit.
Ooh.
No, I got nothing bad to say. But it really consumed my life. It completely took over. I literally worked 12 weeks in 6 weeks. Like I did 80-hour weeks, 6 weeks in a row without a single day off, which are fucking, that's crazy. That's nuts. I do not recommend it. It is not okay. Like, and I already live like closer to insanity than most people. So I was going a little nuts by the time it was over. But I'm very proud of it. Great work. I'll share more about it later. Maybe people want to, ask me questions. I don't know why they would. So anyway, there we go. That's it. That's our Stranger Things 2 review. Oh, wait, no, fuck. We got to do... So, all right, Stranger Things 2. I'll tell you more in the comments. How about that? People want to know more. I don't know. I'll tell whatever I fucking feel like. I have no idea, James. I'm new at this. I'm bad at YouTube.
No, it's
all right.
I'll ask some questions.
Yeah, well, you could ask... I'll probably talk about it on other stuff. So, Stranger Things 2. James, we didn't watch it together, which made my heart weep. I wanted to watch it with you like we normally watch shows. I got used to holding your hand.
Yeah, we were.
And I didn't have your hand to hold while we watched it, so I just had to hold onto your T-shirt, the one I stole from you while you were sleeping.
Though we weren't doing a shot-by-shot recap, so it's a little bit different in that capacity. But
yeah. What did you do? Watch it with someone else?
Yeah,
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I was seeing other people.
You violated my vows.
Yeah.
I mean, our vows. I'm the only one that has vows.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a loaded question. But yeah, I mean, it felt like season one. The thing that made me love season one so much is because I was born in 1983. The 80s are nostalgic for me. And it hits right around that time that reminisces, for me personally, of what childhood was like.
Yeah.
Before the internet, before smartphones, before all of the technology that made life what it is today.
That back then you had to learn that the world was an unfair place by leaving your house. Nowadays you just do that on your Kindle Fire.
Yeah. So the entire season seemed to be completely springboarding off of the events of the past season, which is not unusual for a show with multiple seasons. It was the continuation of the Upside Down story when Will coughs up the slug at the end of the first season.
Right.
And it takes us back to 11. It kind of basically, to make a long story short, it feels like this entire season wrapped up every single loose end that could possibly or conceivably have been left behind in season one.
Okay.
And really, the one thing I'd want to talk about is what do you think the prospects are for a season 3? Does it even make sense? Would you want there to be a season 3? Because at this point, I'm kind of on the side of British television. That's mainly what I watch. It's what I love. They make very high quality things that people love, but they do them in a very limited capacity. And when it just runs its course and the story is told and everything is done, they cut it off.
Obviously, you've never heard of Doctor Who. Ugh, God.
Well,
fucking Garbage City. No, I'm just saying.
I like Doctor Who.
I'm saying because people get really emotional about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot Doctor Who, but not enough to get emotional about.
But I mean, they do so. It's kind of like a different system there, where they bring in a new doctor every like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. So
it's like a new show every single 2 to 3 years. That justifies the continuation of that series.
Okay, so you're jumping ahead to what's season 3 going to be like? Maybe.
Well, just to kind of start off with, do you think there will be a season 3?
Oh yeah, just on the economics. The show's too popular.
That's what worries me.
There's
because
no way
I feel like everything is said and done now. I feel like it should be laid to rest. It was great. I don't want it to be ruined by the search for money.
I was thinking it'd be funny if like the seasons went into like the 90s, like the kids get older, they have to, like one of them gets pregnant. Well, Actually, no, there's not. Will gets pregnant. No, I'm just saying like they become
He
adult.
got pregnant this season.
He did? Oh yeah,
He coughed up the slug.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah. What if,
Dart was his
that's how your
baby.
mother gave birth? You just had a really bad coughing fit, and then a baby came out of her mouth.
Yeah.
No, I mean like it'd be fun to watch them become like adults and like, oh look, now I don't even know their names. Will's the only ones. Will and 11.
Will, Mike, Dustin,
Mike.
11.
Who's the kid with the chicken wing lips?
Dustin?
Dustin. He he turns into an adult. Like he maybe goes through a fat period.
No, he's an adult, but he still has a spokesman. His face is still in the bottle of Gerber's baby.
Yeah.
When he's 28.
Yeah, but they all live through the grunge period. One of them turns out to be Kurt Cobain. That'd be kind of funny.
Yep.
No, I'm doing a terrible job here offering. I'm just trying to be funny, which is not. It's actually kind of off-putting.
So I guess we just kind of shift. What were the main things that you had problems with throughout the season?
Hold on. So as far as season 3 goes, since that's the topic,
Okay.
the thread. Obviously, there's got to be a season 3, but based on what happened in the story, they haven't completely used up the potential that the other side world shows them. Did they close it off? I don't remember how it ended.
Well, here's the problem. Every single season, you've got to go bigger and better than the last one.
Yeah.
That's just kind of a rule of how things go. That's why the production budget on certain shows always escalates per season.
Sure.
Because you always have to outdo yourself than what you've already done. So the entire crux of the story in the first season was the Hawkins lab. The entire town was centered around this laboratory, and that was what drove all the events. They're the ones who had the experimentations in 11. They're the ones that made her open the gate. The gate then gave birth to these creatures, the Demogorgon, and that kind of started everything.
Yeah.
So the entire mystique of season 1 was figuring out who is 11, what can she do, what is her true source, what is the gate, how do we stop the Demogorgon, what is the upside down, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Season 1 kind of sort of resolved that a little bit, but brought us into season 2, but we completely resolved that. We found out who 11's mother was. We found out what her entire backstory was. She reconciled with her mother. We found out that Will was taken over by a smoke monster.
Yeah.
Early in the season, which they were defeated and got rid of. It swirled up into the atmosphere. That's probably the one loose thread that's remaining out there, provided it's still out there. Mm-hmm. The Demogorgon, the Demidogs are now dead. The gate is closed. The smoke monster thing can't get back to them. Hawkins' lab has been shut down. It's never going to reopen again. The doctor, the evil doctor, is gone. The new doctor, Paul Reiser, came in, helped out the One Punch Hopper sheriff, gave the birth certificate for Millie Bobby Brown, 11. So everything is wrapped up. She's no longer on the run. She can live a normal life. Hawkins is no longer a special place because Hawkins' lab is shut down. The gate is shut. Everything is done.
Yeah. Hawkins is a Starbucks.
Yeah,
in another Starbucks.
It's over.
Well, they had number 8. She was kind of cool. Actually, that's
served
one thing.
a very limited function, though.
So the way the season opened was they showed 8 early, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be about like another.
And that was
them.
That was the one thing I hated about this season.
Really?
The only thing I hated when she went off with 8, not the very beginning, but when 11 and 8 kind of reunited.
What I'm saying though is they hinted it. It was like with Game of Thrones where they showed the White Walkers right away, and then they it was another 2 seasons before you really got back or whatever. I'm making but like I thought that the 8 would be like episode 2, 3, 4. You don't see her for like 5 or 6 episodes or something like that. So at least they restrain themselves in that way because it runs the risk of it turning into X-Men. Where they're like, oh, mutants deserve rights. And then there's some evil senator going, no rights for mutants. Look at one of them blew up the Washington Monument.
Yeah, she was essentially just a plot point to teach 11 to focus her powers. That's it.
Nah, but there's potential there for 9, 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You think
Not
they
really.
got more kids that have special powers?
Well, the problem with
Season
that, though,
3.
is that it showed specifically that 11 was in a room with 8. That 11 only had interactions with 8 until they were separated apart.
When they were little kids.
Yeah, you think that if there were more children in there that she had connections with, they would have brought that into the story. But it would seem odd now if they kept going in and building on that whole thread of
maybe
thought.
there was different number of kids at different facilities. I mean, they could easily just come up with like, oh, look, this is Billy. He's got he's good at YouTube. That's his.
But
power.
would that be interesting though?
No, but they named the show perfectly. It's called Stranger Things. Okay, not Stranger Thing. All right, plural. Okay, they can do lots of weird.
Saying that 11 was a thing.
Yes, everything was a thing.
Yes.
Anyway, so what worked for you? Like, what you liked? A good show? Did you dig it?
I like the dynamics between Hopper and 11 in the cabin.
Who's Hopper?
Sheriff Hopper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You say sheriff. I don't know.
Well, I say that they call him Hopper. I like that. One thing is a little bit annoying to me, and it wasn't a big deal, but it was sort of like the Duffer Brothers had a plan for season 1. and they had this cookie cutter template that they created for that season that worked incredibly well, was really, really good.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like they used that as an overlay for season 2. And I say that in the sense that, you think about season 1.
All right.
Will is trapped in the Upside Down. He's communicating to the people on the other side.
Christmas lights.
Using Christmas lights, which is sort of like the gimmick of that season.
Yeah.
This season, it's not the Christmas lights. The house is then sneaking around with the tunnel drawings that he's doing.
Yes.
But they go back to the whole otherworldly communication because Will is trapped within his own psyche, within his own body, because this creature is taking him over. So he's communicating with the Morse code, tapping with his finger.
Yeah.
Similar to him communicating through the Christmas lights.
Right.
So it's just like season 1. It's a quest to save Will, a quest to find Will, a quest to protect Will.
Yeah.
While Will is trying to fight against all odds to communicate, to give them the information that they need in order to accomplish their task from the beyond.
Sure.
So it did feel a bit cliche in that sense. I wanted something that was original from season 1, but they kind of fell back into that template.
Yeah, the 80s nostalgia is sort of... I think we're like in... I think 80s, like the 80s are like a new zombies. Like everybody's going to pull up the 80s because people sort of enjoy that period. It's probably a lot of fun to work on a project with 80s memorabilia. You know what I mean? Like the music is kind of fun. People dig the music.
Yeah.
Like they're like Ready Player One is coming out soon, which we're going to hopefully talk about more on this channel. That's a movie. I read the book, by the way. Check that out. But you never thought you'd hear me say that.
No.
And that's all about 80s nostalgia too. I'm basing this off those two things. But I'm probably basing it off other stuff, so I'm probably correct.
It just makes me worried, like in 20 years when we watch things like this on Netflix, provided we're still alive, that we see things like this that has a nostalgic dance scene at the very end, and instead of the classic 80s songs and everything that works perfect for that setting, we have like, what's like a 2000, what was the music climate in 2000?
Dave Matthews Band coming out with his second album or whatever, the one that wasn't about being underneath some table.
Yeah, I just don't.
No, that was later mid.
I cannot think of like a school dance thing and just hear like Will Smith rapping or something coming over the speakers. That would just be weird.
It would be a little weird. 80s music is the perfect. It's the perfect. Like there's that moment where she kisses the kiss and the music swells.
Yeah,
it's like a nice moment. That's how you want your first like big kiss to feel like, to have the 80s music kick in and go whoop 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 whoop. I don't remember, but most of us don't get
like
that.
A smoke alarm going off.
Yeah, most of us, our first kisses are just sort of awkward and strange, and nobody's comfortable, and the music sucked. So anyway, my point is the 80s
kids were not comfortable either.
If you got to, that's the ideal first kiss. If you're going to really dramatic it up, is have it 80s like a blast come on right away. Not me. Whenever I kiss girls, the music you hear is like Russian funeral dirges. So I find the 80s kind of tiring. I mean, I was born in earlier than you, in the late 70s. I was born in late 1979.
You're a disco baby.
So I was even more alive than you were during the 80s.
Yes, more alive. Yes.
Well, you didn't get the first 2 or 3 years.
Sure I did. Steel Trap.
Is that how long your mom's gestation period
wine.
was?
I remember that on VH1.
Yeah. You probably remember all of it way better than I do. But I was a kid. I remember the video games and going to the arcade.
See, I didn't have the benefit of living in an area that had an arcade.
What? Did you have electricity?
Yes.
Did you have a toilet that was more than just a raccoon skeleton in a hole?
You don't talk about raccoons.
Well, raccoon skeletons are nice and absorbent.
Yep.
They're nature's lie.
You gotta wash the tail every week, though, after you finish using it.
Scrub it out.
Yeah.
It's by pulling it out of your teeth, like a chicken. Chicken, or no, not a chicken. What are the chickens of the sea? Fish. Like in cartoons when they pull out a fish, when a cat eats a fish.
You had to dig deep to pull the word fish out.
Yeah.
You had a career based around fish.
Yes, I owned an aquarium service for 10 years. I still can't come up with that word. Wow, this is the weirdest Stranger Things 2 review I've ever... the 80s, I'm just trying to finish that thought, though. I don't hate the 80s. I think it's... I get why they're kind of like a thing. It seems popular and everything. But... they made sure they hit that note. It's almost like that was more important than like the story for season 2. Like they just had to make sure they captured that 80s. Here are the kids, and they're gonna have a lot of kid banter, but they're smart, but they're nerds, but they're plucky and they're adventurous, and they go out and they have terrible parents, horrible parents. Who has a worse parenting? Derry, the town where it takes place, or don't tell me, what's the name of the town? Arugula.
I've already said it about 50 times.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Oh, Hawkins is the town, too.
Yes, Hawkins. That's why the Hawkins lab is in Hawkins.
I thought it was called Arugula.
No.
horrible parenting going on in both these. These are terrible. Maybe not.
I wouldn't say that.
Maybe the parenting in Hawkins isn't as bad as in Derry, but you do not raise a kid in that environment.
Okay.
The government should shut down the entire fucking town.
What is wrong with Lucas's parents?
Which one's Lucas?
The kid who ends up with Max.
Which one's Max?
Maxine, the redhead.
Oh, is Lucas the kid that was in It?
No, that was Richie in It, who was played by Finn Wolfhard, who plays
Wolfhard?
Mike.
His last name is
I
Wolfhard?
think it is, yeah, Finn.
That's bullshit.
He's got a cool name.
That's a great name. The best last name I ever saw when I was working in a place once, guy's name was Axworthy. AXWORTHY. That was the coolest name I've ever heard of.
There's a guy I know on the internet who, I think one of the kids that goes to the school with his kid is literally named Hunter Knight with a K.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that is an awesome.
That's like
I would just have to be a crime fighter. I don't care who it is. If that was my name, I'd be doing more of my life.
Or like a D&D player. Like that's your chaotic neutral Hunter Knight. Is that right, James?
I don't. I've never played D&D.
Yeah, I wasn't not in it either. Yeah,
I was just playing sports and throwing balls and pumping iron. No, I've really never played D&D.
Pumping iron.
Yes.
What the hell are we talking
One in
about?
each hand.
80s or something? I think.
Yeah, well, the whole thing about the 80s, though, is that it seems like it's the hot button topic right now because you always want to go to an audience. You want to look at your core demographic. You want to look at your people who are in your late 20s to mid 30s.
Yeah.
And to us, the 80s is when that's our first glimpse of life. That was when we were growing up.
Well, not only that, but the 80s is also, aside from there being a fertile consumer market for the 80s, because people who grew up in the 80s are now in their 30s, so they're a little bit more disposable income. That's sort of like a good demo to hit.
Yeah.
Obviously, you still go after younger demos, too. I mean, come on. That's why I do Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
They kicked me off for masturbating too much.
No, Lord.
But aside from the consumer market being mature for people who grew up in the 80s, we also have creators who grew up in the 80s. Like people who were, that's the other side of that is like, Steven Spielberg is a child of the 30s and 40s. And 50s or whatever the fuck,
Yeah, he was a child for a long time.
He was a long child. That's right. and briefly the 1820s. He just happened to time travel back then for that decade. James, you're laughing way too much about that.
Yes. He was a child through 3 decades.
I like when James is happy. It's so rare. I never get to see it.
Yep.
Because he's around me so much. But what are they saying? Oh, yeah. So that's why the 80s are going to be around for a while, I think, in that way. Unless they shift over to the 90s. I don't think anybody gets that nostalgic about the fucking 90s. Tight rolled jeans and Adam Sandler movies.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, exactly. The Gulf War. Give me a break.
Isn't it ironic?
Bill Clinton. Come on. Get out of here.
I like the 90s.
There's
Jean
a lot to like about
jackets
the
and
90s.
neon fanny packs.
Yeah.
Snap bracelets.
Snap bracelets. Yep. That's
Walkmans.
that used to be funny to me until that's how my dad died.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny you should say that because my dad had a business back at that time where he would sell a lot of snap bracelets.
Of course.
And
like a shop. He sold different.
Yeah, he had a music store.
Not a snap bracelet
An
store.
eclectic grouping of merchandise in there.
Yeah.
And one woman came in saying that she wanted to sue him because her daughter hurt herself with a snap bracelet. The snap bracelet is essentially like a piece of metal that's curved in a certain way such that when you depress the center of it, it wraps around your arm.
It's straight like a ruler, but it's bent.
Yes.
And then you hit it.
And it has like colorful fabric around it to make it look snazzy in the 90s.
It bites onto your wrist when you bend it.
Yeah, and apparently what her daughter had done is she had ripped the fabric off and was holding it sideways like a ruler and snapping herself in the wrist with it.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to hurt yourself doing that. It's not my dad's fault.
Yeah, that's not your dad's fault.
Yeah, but apparently that was almost a litigation moment with my family growing up.
Wow, scary.
And there was another moment like that which has nothing to do with the 80s, so I won't get into that one.
That's like suing the government because your kid ate a quarter.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
It was really quickly. The second one was a woman was buying a pair of sunglasses in the store. And she was sitting in front of the mirror trying to fit it around her head. And my dad was trying to be very PC because it was a very, very, very large woman, which is nothing wrong with being a big person.
Sure. Yeah.
But he was like, excuse me, ma'am, you need a bigger set of glasses.
Her head was too fat for the sunglasses?
Yeah, that's not going to fit around your head. And she got so outraged at him. She was like, how dare you? These will fit. And she pulled the arms back so far that they snapped and one of the arms poked her in the eye. And she wanted to sue my father for that, saying that the sunglasses were a danger to the public.
Because she broke them because they were too fat for her head?
Yes.
Wow.
Even though he warned her, please choose a larger size. You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, man. That is, it's just all so hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm glad your dad avoided that lawsuit, though. That would have been trouble. Yeah, I think people often threaten lawsuits as a response to feeling powerless because it gives you a temporary sense of having power.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, what didn't work for you with the Stranger Things? Because I got one I could talk about.
Okay. Number one was obviously the story where Millie, I keep calling Millie, where 11 goes out and meets with 8.
You didn't like all that?
I didn't like that whole thing. It was so 80s cliche. It felt so out of place.
The rocker gang? The punks?
The whole allure of the show is the group of friends that the 80s, the Hawkins, the neighborhood.
The kids.
The innocence of the kids.
In the town, yeah.
And you take that away and you throw 11 into a different atmosphere and it feels like a completely different show. It feels like something you'd watch on the CW. It was not a path I wanted to see 11 take. It was not characters that I give a crap about.
The Spike guy? The Spike hair guy?
Yeah.
It was amazing. He was like Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Every moment they were on the screen, I was lamenting. It's like, I have a very finite amount of Stranger Things left. Every moment you're on the screen is robbing me of a moment that could be better spent back in Hawkins.
Well said. Yeah. I didn't like that part much most of it. I didn't mind that 7 took off and found 8. I thought
7?
11, 7, 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
I didn't care that CVS went on her own. No, I didn't care that 11 went off and found some friends. And I mean, all that kind of like, I get it. But it was like she found Bebop and Rocksteady to hang out with. Yeah. Those are the guys from Ninja Turtles. James and I watched the Ninja Turtles movie a few months ago or whatever. And Bebop and Rocksteady are the bad guy, like the buffoon goons.
The top buffoon henchman of Shredder.
Of Shredder, yeah. But the way they do it in the Ninja Turtles is they're a real white guy and a real black guy, right? And the white guy is, which one's which?
I can never
He's like
remember.
A scary Irish.
One's a pig, one's a rhino.
Yeah, which one's which? So
I
think. And then
I had the action figures
but they're
as a
actors,
kid, but I can't remember.
And so they're like these two guys dressed up in like these crazy outfits. But then they convert them into cartoon or into CGI later through some sort of event. Why am I breaking down the Ninja Turtles movie now? My point is, it was really off-putting to see that guy's hair and that bullshit. And I imagine there are subcultures where that's how people actually did dress. Yeah. It looked very much like a Halloween costume thing.
But
it was super weird and that whole sequence.
They were committing crimes.
Nuts.
They were on the run from the law. Yeah, they were murdering people, and they were trying to say, "Oh, we need to lay low. We can't go out now. We're too hot right now." It's like, how could you possibly go more incognito? Ah, yes, giant mohawk. Yeah, that's not going to make you stand out.
Not even a camouflage mohawk.
Yeah,
what a fucking idiot.
And put a freaking mask on. It's like, yeah, we can see your mohawk. We know who you are.
Yeah, no, that didn't make any sense. Although, to be fair, 8's power was kind of cool. I thought that was an interesting X-Man power. She could make people see whatever she wants them to see by injecting things in their mind. Like that one where the wall rises up to stop the police. I thought that was kind of cool.
You said 8's power. My head heard AIDS power. I was like, what is he talking about? No one had the power of AIDS.
He says some crazy shit, but I didn't expect him to say AIDS power.
Yeah, I was like, that was a thing in the 80s. It still is. But
wait till the medicine gets even better. Then it'll be AIDS power. That's okay. But that whole was just odd. The other thing that didn't work for me was the bully, the guy with the fucking dangly earring and the hair. What's funny to me was like the basketball sequences or whatever, where he's like, oh, and then he
plant your feet,
does a layup. Okay. I know he's not gonna dunk. I mean, none of those fuckers can dunk. But like, come on, you doing a layup?
I'm glad you mentioned him though. Did you know he was the Red Ranger in the Power Ranger movie?
Nope.
But he was.
Nope.
He was
It'd be weird if I knew that.
He was the character that Steve was supposed to be in season 1, and my favorite part about season 2 was the evolution of Steve. Mm-hmm. Steve is an incredibly likable person now. He went from a total D-bag to a complete hero.
Yeah. He is as much of a douchebag as his hair is magnificent.
I would watch a movie of him and Dustin just going off on adventures. He became...
Which one's Dustin?
The guy who had the new teeth growing, the pearls. He called them.
Oh yeah, that's the kid with the chicken. Chicken leg lips.
Yeah.
Chicken wing lips. That's what. Yeah.
But the great thing is like the dynamic between the two. He became a babysitter. He became a protector. He even became a father figure, an older brother figure for Dustin. Whereas before he wouldn't have a thing to do with that little twerp.
Yeah.
Not that I think Dustin's a little twerp, but in his eyes, that's how we saw him.
He was twerp time. Well, yeah, and like in this one, it was like he had to be. He was bullied out of like it's like there was sort of a dominance thing, but he was also they presented it as if it's an obviously he's not going to win this fight with this other because the other guy was stronger, better muscles, more aggressive, even longer of a dangly earring.
But
those fucking dangly earrings. I saw a guy with one the other day, and that's when I knew Stranger Things 2 was a success.
But he was also a tragic figure, though, because if you think about it, the moment that one thing where Maxine is snuck out, the father comes home with the mother and pushes him against the wall and gets right up in his face and gets him to the point where after he leaves the room, tears come rolling down his face. And then he goes and does that to Lucas at the arcade.
Right.
Not the arcade, but at the house that they're hiding out in. Before Steve comes in and starts going into the fist fight mode. So he's only emulating what his opinion, what his exposure to power is based on the abuse that his father does to him.
Yeah. Classic. So, that's pretty classic.
So he's a horrible person, but you kind of have to feel for him a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like this, it's the same thing with all bullies. I mean, generally they come from a stressful upbringing. Most bullies don't emerge from loving, supportive environments where they have all the care and resources, emotional and financial resources that they need to develop into healthy people. Usually that environment doesn't produce a bully. So most bullies come from some kind of stress and they take it out. I mean, I was bullied by people, by I can think of a couple specifics where it got really horrible. I mean, it was no fun. I know it's like to receive
Sorry for doing that to you, by the way. It was a long time ago.
I swear, James, I didn't know it was your Kool-Aid. I thought it was mine. Just kidding. I eat whatever's in the fridge as much as I want. I take all of James's chips. Yeah, no, it would be funny if you bullied me, though, because I'm bigger than you. Obviously, I would destroy you with my power elbows.
Oh, you love.
I did some push-ups last week.
I can kick right up, like halfway up your shin.
Ooh.
I could take you.
Well, then I know where to put my soccer guards, my shin guards, they call them. What the fuck are they talking about? Yes, we can understand where bullies come from, but to me, that's the difference between excuses and explanations. Like, a lot of people go when you explain, like, oh yeah, that guy's a pedophile because he was a victim when he was a kid, and someone goes, oh yeah, well you're just making excuses for it. And like, no, it's not. That's an explanation. There's a difference. They sound similar. Some people confuse excuses for explanations, but you can examine the psychological underpinnings or the factors that led to something becoming why it is without making excuses for it. And so with bullies and almost anything where someone takes advantage of another person, I always end my sympathy ends when they start hurting other people. Because that's like, I'll feel bad for you because you had a horrible childhood or your dad's abusive or you were the victim of something terrible. But once you start harming other people, now you've crossed the line into...
Yeah, you perpetuated that abuse.
Yeah, now you're just hurting other people. Like, it's still tragic. The story is still tragic, but I don't know. Was that enough explanation for why that guy was such a psycho?
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, he was like a one-dimensional character, but they gave him a little bit more depth. And I liked what they also did was... one of the big criticisms of season 1 was something that SNL actually brought out. There was a sketch that they did on Stranger Things where they were basically saying, where are your parents?
Yeah.
Because you never saw any of the other parents aside from Mike's parents.
Right.
This season, they seem to have taken that to heart, and they, before we forget, absolute justice for Barbara. They did that finally because the fan...
What?
Justice for Barbara.
Oh, for Barbara. Yeah.
They did that whole thing. That was great. But they also went to great lengths to show the parents of all the different children, which is great. Lucas had great parents, a very annoying little sister. Mother and father figure, very nice, very cool. Dustin, not so much. We didn't see a father figure in his life, which was a little bit sad. But his mother cared very much for Muse, the cat. That was it. But she did dote on him, like when she was taking the pictures for the prom and everything. She showed love and affection towards him. There was no abuse there whatsoever. Mike's parents was the detached father in the romantic novel reading, mother in the bathtub upstairs, still kind of a little bit aloof and everything, but still good people.
Yeah.
So I like that they kind of did that.
Okay, yeah, that's good. They fleshed it out a little bit.
Yeah, and the whole father figure of Hopper to 11, that kind of came to fruition to the point where it became literal with the forged birth certificate from Hawkins' lab. Those
kids are going to have so much PTSD. Like, kids get PTSD from, getting lost at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, kids are sensitive.
Yeah.
Like, poor 11 is going to need decades of psychological counseling. I mean, she's going to become one of history's greatest killers.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious. With her powers, she's going to murder. She's going to be murdering people when she's in her teens, in her late teens. When she goes off to get a degree in art or some bullshit.
If she'd only been born like 10 years later and became an actress, we wouldn't have to worry about Harvey Weinstein right now.
I'm not even sure I calculate the
She would have murdered him.
Timing on. Oh, she would have murdered. Oh, I see. She would have murdered him. Yeah, that would have been good.
You make one little advance and his head explodes.
She just gives him that, gives him that face, and then his head explodes. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. The more I think about it, it was okay. It didn't if season 2 had been season 1, I don't think it would have been this huge deal. But they did a good job. They kept it. They held the line. There definitely has to be a season 3.
That's the thing.
My review is I gave it. It was a 7. It was a strong 7.5 out of 9.5.
Yeah, season 1, you hated Steve and you wanted Nancy and Jonathan to get together. Yeah. Season 2, you get annoyed by Jonathan and you want Steve and Nancy to get back together.
Which one's Jonathan?
Jonathan's the brother of Will Byers. Jonathan Byers. The photography kid. Apparently, I was told by a friend of mine, Ryan, who you met. Yeah. He said that he read a story that the guy...
Cocaine at the airport, yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
So well, let's say it clearly. I mean, I interrupted you, so...
Basically, he was found with... The actor was found with cocaine at the airport, and there's ongoing decisions on whether to allow him back into the country, because apparently he's not natively from America.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I mean, dude, what...
But the article that he read said that the Duffer Brothers or whatever, or Netflix, says that this calls into questions the planning for season 3. So it seems to confirm that season 3 is something they're thinking about, obviously, which I don't necessarily think would be good. I'm afraid that it would tarnish... And people always say, oh, who cares if one season's bad, because it's not going to erase the fact that seasons 1 and 2 existed, so just let it be. But it kind of does. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did tarnish Indiana Jones. You cannot dispute that. It
All
did.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, if you have a series, if you have a series of series, like the prequels, they tarnished Star Wars.
Yeah, if you have something that's good,
you want to keep.
You had a story to tell. You told the story is great. Push it out to sea. Let it go.
Right. So that guy he was flying to L.A. with cocaine. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Hey, first of all, give him his cocaine and let him go to L.A. I don't give a shit about drugs. It should not be something we put people in jail for. It's a complete waste of time. It's absolutely insane. Treat it like a medical problem. It has nothing to do with morality. It has everything to do with medical when people are addicted. That's my soapbox about drugs. It's insane. We're such a stupid nation. We're backwards because we still keep drugs illegal. It's such an idiotic way of managing the problem. But, side point, don't bring your fucking drugs on a plane. Don't you know where you're going? L.A. This is where we have all the cocaine.
Exactly.
You can get some. You're a fucking successful actor now in a Hollywood show. You're going to get cocaine. They give you cocaine when you get to McDonald's here.
Yeah, you have to check it in your baggage. Don't take it on the plane.
Yeah.
Carry on, they're going to see it.
No. You leave the plane to the smugglers who bring them in. Let them take care of the plane problem.
Well, you do take it on the plane, but it's got to be in your butt.
Yeah. Oh, there's that. Yeah. In a condom in your butt.
No, in a red balloon as a celebration. You can say it's promotional materials for it.
Red balloon in your butt of cocaine. That's why Pennywise was so on edge. Just slow dose of the balloon had burst, but just a little. So it was like a time release capsule.
Yeah, he was just a normal guy before, and that's why his skin turned white and everything.
Big pouch of slow drip cocaine in your rectum. It does mess you up. Being a ancient murder clown is the main symptom of too much cocaine.
Yes.
What the hell are we talking about? What?
Cocaine in the butt, Jonathan Byers, cocaine. Season 3.
Season 3, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, final question. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can relate this to the next season if you want or not. Did you like the monster? Like, did they kind of like... Because what was the monster was the Google Maps snake multi-limb monster, basically?
It was the mind flayer. It was the hive mind control within Will that controlled the Dimmadog, which I thought was kind of stupid.
But it was shaped like all these tunnels. It wasn't really like an arachnid. It was more just like it was a tunnel monster, right?
I think that the dogs dug the tunnel. Because remember when Dart escaped from the basement, he was able to quickly tunnel through the earth like
and they do have that kind of tunnel mouth.
Yeah,
that looks like those machines that bore holes. What are they called? Boring machines?
Yeah. Like, how bullcrap was it near the very end when Dart confronts the kids in the tunnel and Dustin has to go up and basically, say, Dart, let me distract you while the kids get by. And he gives him like 2-3 musketeers.
Yeah.
That thing, my dog could eat a 3... I know chocolate's not good for dogs, but hypothetically, if I had a dog of that size, he could have that done in about a second and a half.
Yeah, just wolf it down.
Yes, and yet this thing, whose entire head was nothing but a mouth, took about 2 to 3 minutes to work on these 2 candy bars.
Oh.
Well, they slipped by.
Maybe it was having us, it was remembering its childhood back in the old day when it used to be comforted by living down by the guy's toilet or something.
Yeah. Oh, and we cannot wrap this up without talking about Bob.
What about Bob?
Bob was fantastic.
Who's Bob?
Super Bob? Bob Newby, superhero? Sean Astin?
Oh, Sean Astin.
The tragedy of losing Bob?
Fat Sean Astin.
Oh, that killed me. I knew from the very beginning he had to die because he was an obstacle that was inserted between Joyce and Hopper. Oh, and there's always that tension between the two of them that they're going to get back together, and he was an impediment to that.
Yeah.
But he was such a likable, kind, caring, supportive, helpful person. It was at the very end, like after he got back in the lobby, you saw the distance between him and Joyce, and you knew they wouldn't keep them that far apart unless something was going to happen.
A little part of me thought in the first half
that he was a plant from Hawkins?
No. Wow, that's an interesting thought. But no, that he was going to turn out to be a kid toucher or something fucked up. You know what I mean? Not necessarily that, but like there was going to be a dark twist to this Bob guy because he seemed so nice and so kind of above board and just a little too straight-laced and basic.
He knows basic.
Knows basic, but he also was basic. That's a way of describing people as being simple. He was a basic.
He was anything but
He was
simple.
a basic bitch.
He was not basic.
Say bitch.
No. Fuck.
But they didn't do that. And I actually like that they didn't do that because it was still too predictable if they did do that because I'm basic. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, duh, it's going to be like a bad.
Yeah. I love that he worked at Radio Shack, and I love that at one point when the parents came home before they accosted Dangly Earring Boy in his room, they were carrying a bag that said Sears on it.
Oh really? Sears?
Yeah, you don't see a lot of Sears around anymore. Radio Shack is pretty much non-existent these days.
Most of the bags I see these days are just Kohl's and Ross Dress for Less.
Yep.
The Bob guy. Oh, he's a sacrificial boyfriend. Like he sacrificed himself, and I mean, I think every family needs a sacrificial boyfriend, somebody to feed to the monsters.
And that's why I was worried too, because near the very end of the season, Steve, I was thinking, oh crap, Steve is so great, you can't have him die, and yet he was alone in the tunnel with Dustin as the dogs were coming, and they ran right by him.
Yeah.
So I was relieved by that,
right?
Because the loss of Bob was so much worse than the loss of Barbara.
Oh, really? You think there's going to be another movement online to get Bob justice? Just like Barbara never got justice.
Well, Barbara didn't get justice because her fate was unknown.
Right.
And they wrapped that up by having the newspaper guy kind of forge this fake story. They watered down the story so the public would believe it about her dying from exposure to chemical agents.
Okay.
Which is a little weird, though, because that whole story broke when they got Paul Reiser's character on tape confessing to it, confessing that his lab was what brought about the death of Barbara, because no one knew she was dead at that point. And in spite of that getting the Hawkins lab shut down, Paul Reiser's character was still free and loose.
Right.
He was the one in the diner that gave the birth certificate to Hopper. So that seemed a little weird to me. You'd think that he would have the book thrown at him, that he would be the fall guy, because he was the only one left alive. You'd think that would be the one that would be prosecuted.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Because his voice is literally on that tape, and we know the tape got out because the news guys were saying at the very end.
Right.
So a little sketchy there for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Paul Reiser was just hard for me to watch because of I'm the president of the local Mad About You fan club. Yeah. So like it's just I can't not just see him and Helen Hunt having hilarious conversations in their New York apartment.
Yeah, when I was watching the show with Ryan, like every 5 minutes when he would pop on the screen, I was like, oh, I think those Demi dogs are mad about you. I see him, and that's all I think too.
More like mad about youth.
Yes,
fucking youth these days. Yeah, it was an okay show. I didn't. It was fine. Don't watch it. I don't recommend anybody watch it. Fuck it.
Did we mention that we're going to be doing massive spoilers at the front of this?
Oh yeah, spoiler alert, everybody. Well, so what do you give it out of 9.5? What's your score?
I mean,
0 to 9.5.
I prefer rating things the way that Roger Ebert used to rate things.
How dare you?
And he wouldn't ever compare one film against another film.
Would you say it was jaw-dropping?
No, that's horrible. That is horrible. Jesus. Wow.
Go ahead.
Oh.
He was
a good man.
He was a wonderful man.
Okay.
Yeah.
The balcony is closed.
Chicago's favorite.
Okay. But he would rate things based on how well it accomplished what it tried to be.
Yeah.
This was trying to be a spiritual successor to season 1. This was trying to wrap up the story. And in doing so, it absolutely accomplished that. So if I say it's a 9 out of 10, I'm not saying it's as good as Shawshank Redemption or as good as other films. I don't make that comparison. I say
Fair.
that what it set out to do, it did wonderfully. I enjoyed every moment of it. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm glad that they wrapped everything up, and I hope that this is the end of Stranger Things for that sake.
So it just can be a story that has an ending, and
I think any further tinkering with it would just be a disaster.
It's gonna start to look like those celebrities that got like famous in their early 20s for some specific reason, and then they're in their late 40s and they're going like, "Oh, hickory dickory dock."
Yes.
Old little man Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh.
Yeah.
it gets a little like, oh, you're just stretching out this thing that you should have let it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like American TV. You think of The Office. Season 1, Season 2, pretty entertaining, pretty good.
Yeah.
Season 19, I don't know how far it went on, but it just turned to crap.
I hope Jim and Pam get fucking divorced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
We just don't need that.
No.
It's like we didn't need any more Harry Potter films. We didn't need to see, it's...
Well, she'd written the books, man. That's different.
Well, I'm saying
the books are already written.
No, I'm saying that at this point, we don't need it anymore.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It'd be like if Harry Potter and the 401k and Harry Potter trying to get his kids into the good schools and stuff like that. Harry Potter and the immigration police.
Yeah, Harry Potter and goes to the doctor and finds out he's got Hogwarts.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so I guess that's it. Oh, final prediction, very quick. Will there be more than 3 seasons? What's your total prediction? I think they're going to do 6 seasons. No, 5 seasons.
I predict there'll probably be 4 seasons, but I really hope there's only 2.
Okay.
As much as I say that from a place of love. I love the show.
Yeah.
I don't want it to end because I hate it. I want it to end because it's done its job.
Right. And like the 80s themselves, we should place them in our memory where they belong. Okay? I don't want to think about my parents having sex or your parents having sex, which they did 9 months before you were born. Do you think both your parents had an orgasm the moment you were conceived, or just one?
We're done here.
that's like you should ask that question to people you just meet. Hey, nice to meet you. Do you think your mom had an orgasm when she, or was it just, what do you think?
Yeah.
Because if your mom, this is just me making something up right here, but if the woman has an orgasm when she conceives, smarter baby. Better baby. Taller, smarter. That's how Thor got born. His mom had several. Okay, guys.
She was very Thor afterwards.
She was Thoring. Okay, speaking of Thor, we're going to do a Thor review, too. So look for that. And a Ladybird review.
Ladybird.
I saw Ladybird. We're going to talk about it.
Does anyone even know what Ladybird is?
Shut up! The theater was filled here. Although LA theaters
We're going to do a review of an obscure puppet show that we saw outside on the street.
I saw a sidewalk drawing. I'm going to talk about hopscotch. Okay, well, there you go. 42 minutes. Fucking shit. God damn it. I got to find... fuck. I got to edit this.
Just do a slow zoom into...
That's pretty much
Dustin's
what I do.
mouth the whole time.
Okay, all right.
And then it gets to his teeth and it spins upside down and then zooms out.
Is Dustin the chicken wing lips kid?
His lips only looked like that when he was wearing that scuba mask at the end.
I thought they looked like the whole time. He looks like a kid with like no lips, but then to make up for no lips, they put chicken wings on his face. Because they're shiny. They're shiny.
He was born with a genetic defect that made his teeth not come in until much later. That's
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his lips.
Well, that causes his lips didn't grow in.
I'm not making fun of him.
They're wax lips for season 1. He had to put in there until his real lips grew in.
I got big juicy lips like him. I'm saying it like someone who understands. Those things get stuck on barbed wire. They hurt to get tattooed. Trust me, man. I've made all the mistakes. All right, guys. There you go. Find us on Patreon and Twitter and shit and fuck. I haven't done this in a while. Well, I am going to do the Patreon one of these days. Okay. I promise. I literally have to now because people have been tweeting me and man, I've been really a little let down. Thanks for watching our video, guys. It's mostly talking. There's really, but James, thank you very much. I appreciate all your insight and I hope next show that comes out, we do get to hold hands and watch it like we normally do. Just as is said in my vows.
I'll make a silicone copy of my hand for you.
Fair enough. Just
put it on your keychain.
That's exactly what people do with porn stars. Except they don't. It's not a lot of porn star hands being sold out there. Mostly different parts.
Is that what all those Amazon boxes have been?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm just creating an applause. I want people to clap for me. All right, guys. Well, okay. Bye. James. Bye. See you later, everybody. Bye.